Hey guys, Asian Kyle here today, and I just want to do a really quick response video to the Military Arms Channel CZ P07 Gauntlet test that he did. This isn't necessarily pointing out that any one gun is terrible or anything else like that. This is just for the P07 and why I think it actually did so well in his testing, which it really did. I do believe that if he would have used the second strike capability like he did on the AREX, this gun probably would have fired every single one of those rounds. That's just my own belief, and we will never know unless he redoes it all, but even then we can't step back in time to make him redo it. So we'll never know. Either way, I believe it did extremely well. So before we get too far into it, I do want to show that both guns are clear. So empty mag, empty chamber, and we'll just go ahead and we'll leave it as is because I'm going to be using it here again just for that reason. And then empty gun, empty chamber, and leave this one as well. So the main reason why I think the P07 did so well in his testing is, first and foremost, a little thing called ingress points. Ingress points are just areas in which it allows something, some foreign material or fluid into whatever it's not supposed to be in. Obviously in a gun you have a lot of those. You have areas in the trigger, for example, right there. You obviously have the barrel. I don't want to flag myself, even though it's empty for you safety Nazis. You have all the stuff back here for the slide whenever it reciprocates in the form of the XD. You do have the grip safety, and obviously you have all the open spaces. In other words, what I'm trying to say is there's a million ingress points on guns. That's just the nature of the beast. There's a lot of them. But I think with the CZ-P07 over here, it really limits those. And first and foremost is going to be in terms of that right there. This is where the slide catch, slide release actually clicks into the slide itself. And when it opens up, or whenever, excuse me, not opens up, when the gun goes back in the battery, it's got all this space right there. And you can see that in the XD, M&P, Glock, 320, most guns out there have some sort of large ingress point right there, and that delivers stuff straight into the action, in my opinion. Now granted, this isn't any sort of scientific anything, this is just my own opinion about this, so if you think I'm wrong, go ahead and tell me I'm wrong, but I'm not trying to start a flame war about anything. So when we look at the P07, obviously they do have some of the same ingress points right there being the trigger, all this back here for the slide, and obviously the barrel and stuff like that. But the biggest thing that I think of, and when I use my little flashlight, you can actually see that little piece right there. Focus. That little nubby is actually where the slide stop is and engages inside the gun. And what you'll notice is when I actually release this, there's no holes right there. The entire length of travel of the slide down. So when we open it up again, oops. So right there, as you see it's moving around, that's where the slide stop is. And when I go and disassemble it, you can actually see it a little easier. So now the gun is disassembled. Right there is where the slide stop catches. It's inside the gun, so it automatically doesn't have a huge ingress point right on the side to deliver stuff straight into the trigger grouping. Other than that, you still have your same points back here, mostly for the plunger safety on inside the hammer. For the striker, for the hammer to connect with the primer. So that's really the only ingress point right there. So we'll go and reassemble the gun really fast. Alright, gun is now back fully assembled. So the other thing, reason why I think maybe the CZ-P07 did so well in the Gauntlet test is actually going to be the hammer itself. And we will make sure the gun is clear. So as you see, it is completely clear. The reason why I believe the hammer has some small thing to do with it, and this is directly my personal opinion, because the 226 Legion just utterly just failed. As we all saw, it had major issues, but the AREX did great, the Beretta did great, so I'd really love to see him test more double single action guns for that reason. But when we actually use the hammer on this gun, on double action, it's got all this length of travel before it breaks and goes home. And even when we do it in single action now, it still has all this length of travel to go home. So when we actually take a look in comparison to any striker fired gun for that matter, so this is the Springfield, obviously it is still safe. The striker on this, as you can see, it is cocked, only has so far to go, and that's it. It doesn't have a whole lot of range of motion to travel. So basically the comparison I try and make with that is, if you're holding a physical hammer and you're trying to nail a nail into a piece of wood, and your travel is only, say, this much, about 2 inches, and let's say you still hit it with all the same force that you would with a full swing, you literally just don't have enough momentum built up to force the nail into the wood. Again, I am no physicist, but this is just the only way that I can justify in my head, and speaking with some of my friends are like, well, that makes some sense. And with a hammer on a gun, it's the same way. So on a striker, you have half an inch of travel at best, no matter which one it is, because just there's not a whole lot of room in there. There's also a lot of room for material to get inside the striker chamber, as we've seen with the Glock 19, or was it 17. They do make hydro cups for that to solve that issue, but so it's not a slight against Glock. It's just there is water in the chamber, there's fluid in the chamber somewhere. With a hammer-fired gun, you have all of this range of motion for the hammer to fall. So as it starts to fall, we'll go ahead and squeeze the trigger, and then that's where it collides with the striker inside the gun. So just the momentum of the hammer itself is another reason which I believe why, for the most part, the hammer-fired guns just do better in the test. Does that mean that they are better than striker-fired guns as a whole? Absolutely not. What that does mean is that maybe they might be a little more reliable when it comes to dirt and debris. Also with the second strike capability. So that's not the reason why I carry a P07. I carry it because I like the hammer-fired guns, and I love the double single action, because that single action trigger is just butter once you get it. So I would like to see him continue to do more double single action firearms, as well as more just striker-fired guns, just to see. I would really love to see some striker-fired gun just completely go straight through the test, like the P07 did. I'd like to see him go back and try and refire some of those hard primers, which we believe may be hard primers or not. This is just purely my own interpretation of why this gun did so well. So I'd like to also see him just do an XD, just because there's a lot of XD owners out there, especially, like I said, ingress points. I want to see if that big old monstrosity, you know, this right there, all that openness, if that really affects performance or not. I think it really will. I think it's going to get so dirty on the inside, but who knows, it might just keep chugging along, because this is really a striker, but the striker is about 95% cocked already, so it's really as close to a single action as we can get, kind of like the 320. So anyways, guys, this is Agent Kyle signing out, and I just want to talk about my opinions and beliefs why the P07 did so well in the military arms gauntlet testing. Until next time.